Episode number 238. Are these comics going to make good film and television shows? We have Justice League and Kong and Godzilla 2, number 1, longest title ever from DC. And then we have an independent Mark Spears, Monsters number 5. Let's talk about them right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, we're going to talk about these comics here, and we're going to talk about the writing of them, the art, how cinematic they are, all those things. Plus, you get to see what Marvel and DC and the independents are up to, and if they're going to hit your screen in the future. Remember to give me a like, give me a subscribe if you can. Share this video out there. Help the channel grow. Plus, if you'd like to read anything that I've written, I am on Amazon. You can just type my name into Amazon, or there's a description below. We have a link there. Plus, we have our 4-novel series, Destiny Aurora. It's also on Audible, Kindle, and on Amazon. My fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor the Iron Witch. We also have now launched Fairy Tales of Terror. It is a graphic novel going to Kickstarter. The Kickstarter pre-launch page is up, so definitely check that out. The QR code is here, or there's also a link in the description below as well. All right, so let's jump right into Justice League, Godzilla, and Kong. So I don't go through it page by page like I used to. I'm just going to do a general overview of it. So this is a sequel by Brian Buccellato. The artwork in here is very good. I liked the last one. Everybody else did not. I had a lot of people that reviewed it very poorly, but I had a lot of fun with it. I thought, having the Green Lanterns in these huge suits and the bat suit and everything else, the bat armor towering over it. I thought it had a lot of good stuff to it. Well, and then you had, of course, Superman versus Godzilla right in the beginning, which was awesome. So this one here starts out with Waller, where it's kind of falling into some of the other stories of Waller, where she's trying to create a scenario where she can battle something that's beyond human, human fighting ability. So she has Task Force X, which is made up of a whole bunch of... this doesn't really fall into any continuity because even Lex Luthor's in there. And of course, Lex Luthor can't be in there because Superman, he's getting in Superman in a different capacity. But you have Black Manta, who's, I love Black Manta. You have Cheetah in there. There's a whole bunch of them in there. And even from the movies, you have King Shark in there. So yeah, so King Shark is the one that they basically experiment on. Meanwhile, Barry is having a wedding to Iris, and the big controversy is, are you going to tell her that you are the Flash? And so some of the Justice League were invited, others weren't. So when you had Clark and Lois and a couple of others ones were invited, everybody else is just watching it from a monitor. But anyway, that storyline evolves. Are you going to tell her? Are you going to tell her? But anyway, they make King Shark into a Titan, which I thought was really, really interesting. So meanwhile, the Justice League are looking for something that the Injustice League, the Injustice League, whatever, the Legion of Doom, whatever it may be, and they find a boom tube. So they're like, well, do we go through the boom tube? What do we do? Meanwhile, you do have King Shark, who is now going to go up against Godzilla, because Godzilla hears whatever's going on, and he comes up out of the water, which is, look at that page. That is an amazing page. Meanwhile, we have a bat robot armor, again, carrying a machine gun. Okay. But anyway, they end up on Skull Island, and for some reason, Kong does not recognize them, because Supergirl was teamed with Kong in the last thing. But But anyway, the battle with Godzilla continues, with Godzilla being victorious, of course, and causing King Shark to shrink back down, and he doesn't remember even what happened. Meanwhile, Waller and Flag have a little tiff, and that tiff doesn't end well. I'm going to show you the last page here, so this is going to be spoilers. But meanwhile, Kong, as I said, does not recognize them and starts to fight them. And they're like, oh no, what do we do? But Waller and the Flag, this is how it ends. Again, spoilers here. He shoots Waller. And Waller looks pretty damn dead. So yeah, so that's Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong 2. Number 1. Wow. I really like this issue. I think Brian Bosselitos does a good job of combining everything together. There's a lot of moving pieces he has to put together, but I like it. All right, so let's jump into Mark Spears' Monsters. And if you're a fan of my channel, this is going to look familiar because it is, of course, the same artwork on our card game because this is combined with me and Mark Spears. And if you'd like a copy of this, it is on GameFound. But anyway, you can hit me up and I can put a link if you're looking for a copy of it because we are in late pledge right now. I am getting the files ready. I really have to do that. I've been on 2 movies back to back and I've kind of fallen short of... I got the template. I just got to put the cards together. But anyway, this is a somewhat continuation throughout. There's a somewhat storyline, but the storyline continues to like waver all over the place because there's a lot of characters in here. So you have Slayer, who was just hurt, but now he's fine. He was with some kind of a snake-faced chick, but he's the guy on the cover. And he's visiting with Jekyll. Meanwhile, you have the Goonie guys that have found the house where Dracula and Frankenstein are, and now the Bride of Frankenstein is captive there as well. There was also a guy that was picked up who was traveling around kind of like Bill Baxter, or whatever his name was, from the Hulk, where he's kind of like just going around, doesn't have a home thing. But anyway, he locks him up for no damn reason. And Bill Bixby. I don't know why I said Baxter, but Bill Bixby. And which was the original Hulk. That was the actor. But anyway, he puts him in jail, and he ends up turning into a werewolf, breaks out of jail, and kills the sheriff. So that's kind of where that one ended. So this one here, the Slayer confronts Dr. Jekyll, and then shoots him in the head. So meanwhile, the kids are going into like a gas station, and they go downstairs, and they find the werewolf guy not only has killed the other guy, the sheriff, but has killed somebody in there too. There's a lot of things hanging out of him, and the kids just go, "Oh my God, run!" And you see the kid says, "Who shot JR?" on the yellow shirt. And that is from Dallas back in the 80s, if you don't get the reference. And I didn't even notice this the first time I saw it. But he hits the guy in the head with the dagger. I didn't even notice that because there's no dialogue. So I just kind of went past it, and I didn't notice that the first time I read it. But anyway, the kids are now running from the monster. The cops are pulling up. And then we go into the house where we see Igor. And Igor is talking to the Bride of Frankenstein, who is being held captive. And I really like the art there. I've always been a fan of the Bride. But anyway, so the kids are in big trouble, and here comes a car and hits the werewolf, and I like the bottom panel there. But apparently the Slayer did not know he was going to be going up against the werewolf right now, and we get this really cool shot of him coming out of the car firing, but he's obviously not firing silver bullets, so the battle continues to the point where we get fisticuffs. But then Igor takes out a pair of scissors and decides to cut the bride's hair. I'm not sure I like that at all. I don't know if it's because he was afraid of the copyright or whatever else, but it was very strange. But yeah, and then I guess we're gonna have Kali. I have Kali as an extra card. I didn't put it as a monster because I'm lucky I did that because I did get some blowback saying she's not a monster. But I don't have it in the monster pack. It's an additional card. So, but anyway, so would this make a good film or television show? The monsters would always make, especially when you combine them. And the Slayer character is actually really cool. But the storyline has so many characters that it's hard to keep track of everything. So it would have to be, if it became a film, it would have to be compacted, where you had the Slayer, was, you could see him as a regular man, where he's, where we can identify with him instead of just having the mask on the entire time, because he's really the only character throughout that's kind of human, that's not a monster, aside from the kids, unless we're just doing a Goonies movie, and then that changes the whole dynamic if, we have kids in danger all throughout. And then we have Justice League and Kong and Godzilla and everything else that you can throw in there. I really like the beginning of this. I think this is very cinematic. So you have the wedding, you have the gunshot from Waller, you have them going to Skull Island. There's a lot going on here in a single issue, and I think it would make a good film so far. I mean, the beginning would be great. So anyway, that's it for me. But yeah, I hope I'm glad I'm going back into this because I had 2 films back to back, as I said, so I haven't been able to do the single issue stuff, and I just got back from Dallas, so I got to see Wes and Aaron and a bunch of other guys, Drew from Thinking Critical, Josh, they were there, Max, they were all there, Perch was there, Gary from Nerdrotic. Then I got to see Snarky J. I don't know if you follow any of the movie channels. Sean Chandler. There was just a bunch of them. So I got to see a bunch of people. All right. Also, remember to give me a like. Give me a thumbs up if you can. And if you can, jump into Fairy Tales of Terror. Definitely jump into that. Again, the QR code is here, or there's a description below has a link. And yeah, we're in pre-launch, so definitely sign up now. It's just one button, and you'll get notified when we launch. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys on the next episode. All right, bye.